The children were all catching up with their breaths as Hakuya began doling out advice. It was no wonder why the children had all grown so fast if the training was this harsh every time. Hinata returned her attention to me and got back on topic. I got mesmerized by their fight halfway through our conversation. Have you scheduled the music exchange that Luminas-sama has been pestering for yet? I knew she'd be interested, but by the look of things, she seemed to really enjoy it. That's why I came to bring the matter to you. How surprising, but I had been swamped with work, so I was planning to postpone it. Oh, I guess Luminas genuinely liked our concert. I told Takt and the band to continue to practice, and as a result, the number of pieces they can perform has also increased. Your memory in that area is really amazing. I can't even read music notes, and writing scores from memory was obviously impossible. Ah, so there were things that even Hinata wasn't good at. She hadn't been all that interested in the concert either. She was probably terrible with music. I enjoyed a momentary internal feeling of superiority. With that being said, I had to rely on Raphael-san too. Then, please anticipate our visit soon. Very well. Moving a whole band is a huge project, so allow us to send our holy knights as escorts. We will use elemental magic warp portal to send them in groups. Wonderful. Since there's going to be a lot of luggage with so many people, I figured that going there by horse-drawn carriages would be a hassle. I recalled that Lubelius was protected by a barrier, meaning we couldn't just teleport there. This was why we needed a more comfortable method of transportation. The problem would be resolved when the train was complete. But that would be a long time away from now. You couldn't ask for things that didn't exist yet. Transporting the whole band wasn't only about moving the performers themselves. Each player had to carry their own instrument for the performance, which was quite cumbersome. If we were to travel by horse-drawn carriages, we might be forced to go down some unfinished roads as well. Riding on roads that were in poor condition could damage the instruments, and we wanted to avoid that type of situation. I was super envious of the dragon ship owned by the Empress of Serion. Traveling by train might be fun, but in order to reduce the travel time, aircraft were obviously more convenient in that regard. You could navigate by sea or land for logistical transportation, but for sightseeing or other purposes, air was the fastest and comfiest method. This was the reason why Hinata's proposal was very beneficial to us. I promised that I would help too, and so we worked out the detailed matters regarding the travel plans. As I was halfway through my discussion with Hinata, the children, who were on break, gathered together. Rimuru-sensei, where are you going with Hinata Onachan? Since Chloe had inquired, I explained the music exchange that would be held at Lubelius to everyone. I want to go too. Me too. I might fall asleep during it, but since Chloe and Alice are going, I'll go too. Yeah, me too. In that case, I'm going as well. The fact that these guys are coming and the possibility of them causing problems is what worries me. Because of Chloe's words, Kenya and the others began clamoring about wanting to go to Lubelius. What should I do? It was good to let them see more of the world as a form of social experience. But if you were to ask me whether there might be danger or not, I couldn't confidently rule that out. Raising her head to look at my troubled expression, Kumara opened her mouth and timidly said, I wish to go to Arinsu. Kumara's presence was needed as the guardian of the 90th floor. The way she spoke indicated a regret. It appeared that her senses were telling her not to beseech such a request from me. But as a child, she naturally yearned to go on a trip with her friends. It went against my way of doing things if I were to turn her down. You don't have to be so courteous. If it's only a tiny, selfish request, ask and I may just approve it. It was gonna be a headache if she were to grow up to become as stubborn as Milim, but that was better than losing her innocence as a child. Based on these considerations, I told her my thoughts while patting Kumara's head. Similar to her small fox form, it feels smooth and fluffy. Her warmth seems to have nothing to do with her human or monster form. Kumara had gone through transforming into a humanoid being. What happened above was purely sensible imagination conducted by yours truly, Rimuru. Awesome. Now we can officially travel and skip school. But you always looked happy at school, Ken-chan. Did you really want to skip classes? Idiot. Attending classes is fun, but if we get to play while everyone else has to study, how should I say this, it makes us really special. Kenya, I understand what you mean, but I don't want to get corrupted by your mindset. On the other hand, I feel very excited too. Right. That's exactly it. The children were all fired up about going before I had even given them permission. They even went on to declare something about skipping school. It wasn't like I didn't understand their feelings. And although I could sympathize, I would never put such a thought into action. Right, it won't matter. Instead, please have the teachers assign them more homework. How can you do this, sensei? I ignored Kenya's cries. Everything doesn't always go your way, and many things in life were ultimately unfair. I intended for them to learn about this point while they were still young. This was a demonstration of my fatherly love, and they would surely grow stronger from the experience. This was definitely not me picking on or punishing them. Hopefully, the children would come to understand my justification behind it. I just want to be with sensei. Chloe, who started the whole thing, seemed rather satisfied. Alright, I suppose it's fine as long as they make some good memories together. Your heart goes soft so easily. Ah, could it be that Hinata-san is against the idea? I retorted and signaled with my eyes. You are so cold. Tisk. Hinata clicked her tongue. I never said that, she answered with irritation. But she didn't appear to object. Then we are all good to go. And so, the plan was settled. We would be attending the music exchange in Lubelius. The day that we sent out our band, the children would tag along as well. We arrived at the Holy Empire of Lubelius. On our tour through the city's streets, the children were overcome with curiosity as they took in all the sights with wonder. On the contrary, Takt and the band members were practically shaking in their boots. Diablo was by my side, acting as my secretary. Xian was here as well. Since I had let her guard our town last time, I decided to bring her. Instead, Bildor would be keeping guard. You have an important task as the master of the labyrinth, I convinced him with this line. That was why he didn't follow us during this expedition. It might have been a different case if we were heading to another country, but it was simply too dangerous to let Bildor meet with Luminas. Warning. Probability of problem occurring 100%. I also received such advice from you-know-who. It was an obvious landmine to avoid, one that must be avoided at all costs. Our guide was Hinata herself. Welcome to Lubelius. His Majesty the Pope welcomes you all too, she introduced in a tone that sounded remarkably disrespectful towards the Pope. Although I was aware of the secret that the Pope was merely a role Lewis played, Takt and the others knew nothing of it. This was, of course, highly classified information. Obviously, I couldn't tell the children, nor could we tell the members of the band. I gave an improvised response and confirmed our later schedule with Hinata. First off, she announced, tonight, we will be hosting a banquet to welcome everyone. Tomorrow, we will invite you all to complete sound checks. The following day is scheduled for rehearsal, and the concert will take place in 3 days' time. What do you think, Takt? Yes, sir. There's no problem, Rimuru-sama. Even though we require magic to transfer the instruments, I don't think it will affect them very much. We will need to make slight adjustments depending on the size of the venue, but since there are bands here as well, I don't think there will be a problem. Then it was okay to perform. You only have 1 day to rehearse though. Hahaha, that is indeed true. However, we've been practicing every day back home for this concert. All of the members can guarantee that we will not disappoint. Excellent. It must be thanks to their diligence that they possess such conviction. Despite the fact that hard work was sometimes unable to measure up to natural talent, it was still a reliable method. With hard work, you could build up confidence that subsequently made your heart stronger. Plus, this newfound resilience would also prove itself useful in all manner of other everyday activities. If you persevered every day, you would obviously be confident in your work. I gave full marks to Takt's answer. Now, I am very much looking forward to the concert, I thought to myself, nodding with satisfaction. Fast forward to later that night. The members of the band were being treated like nobility. But this only made them more confused and nervous. Now may I ask, Rimuru-sama? We are mere common citizens of the Tempest Federation. Are we really allowed to stay in such luxurious rooms? This great expedition involved more than 100 participants, yet each person was assigned their own room. They also got a personal maid, who was on standby next door, to respond the moment they were called. Moreover, there was a bar that even rivaled ones in a 5-star hotel. You could access it regardless of species, human or monster. This, nonetheless, made everyone rather nervous. The banquet was excessively grand as well. They continuously served bite-sized appetizers, which were both delicious and arranged to be aesthetically pleasing. While portion sizes weren't too large, the flavors more than made up for that deficiency. Furthermore, the dishes were extraordinarily creative in order to satisfy everyone's varying palates. In the beginning, the children were complaining about the small portions and appeared unsatisfied. But, by the end of the banquet, they all seemed quite full as they patted their round bellies. Since I was a slime, it was impossible for me to be full by any measure. The children's stomachs, on the other hand, had their limits. Regardless of how small the portion of each serving was, if they ate a bunch, then naturally it would eventually add up until they couldn't eat another bite. In contrast to the innocent kids, the band members' feelings were a lot more complicated. There were many delicious cuisines in Tempest as well, but none of them were like this, made with extreme attentiveness, and served exclusively to nobles and royalty. Not only had they never tasted such luxurious dishes, they also received accommodating services that they had never experienced before. It was unreasonable to expect them to not feel skittish. In any case, don't be so constrained. This is all a token of appreciation from Lubelius for your performance later. I was tremendously grateful that I didn't have to perform. I hadn't shown dedication like they had, yet even if I did and was in the same position as Takt and the band members, the crushing performance anxiety would have been enough to drown out my enjoyment of the dishes. Not being able to savor delicious food was a huge loss in the pleasures of life. That was the main reason why I hoped Takt and the band members would appreciate it as much as they could. The banquet soon ended without a hitch, and the band members made their way back to their rooms. The children went to sleep too. They were quite excited after spending the entire day seeing new and interesting things. They were undoubtedly exhausted after all the fun they had. Everyone quickly fell asleep, leaving me the only one awake. I was planning to use my special skill of Sleepy Boy, but apparently it wouldn't be necessary. Knock, knock, I heard the door being gently rapped on. My apologies for disturbing your majesty at this hour, but our master would like to invite your majesty Rimuru to join her. Is it convenient for you to convene? Someone ran up to me almost silently. It was one of the attendants that served Luminas, a surmounter. Unlike the ones who came to a research facility, the attendants appeared to be very outstanding individuals. Although I was under the impression that Luminas would not show herself this time, the attendant's presence suggested that she intended to meet me. I accepted the invitation without hesitation.